Mic check. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Milford High School for this tremendous occasion, the official court dedication for Coach Ted Dixon. My name is Aaron Zupka. I'm the athletic director. Thanks for everyone for being here today. We've had people come from California, North Carolina, all over the country to be here today. So we want to thank everybody for their time, and they all have been with Coach Dixon in different walks of life. So we are so excited to celebrate. I've been looking for this day for months. Lots of great stories are going to be shared tonight, so we're just proud to celebrate with you and your family tonight. I want to be 100% honest, though. I did not know Coach Dixon before I got to Milford 5 years ago. I never heard of him. I didn't know of him. I didn't know of any of his accomplishments. I'm going to be 100% honest. With that said, when I got here, I learned about him very quickly. Not only are his coaching accolades, they are their own level. Coaching record from 1980 to 1996, 253 wins, 70% winning percentage, 5 conference titles, 5 district titles, and of course that 1993 women's Final Four, which is the highest ranking position we've ever got, men's or women's. With that said, very little you hear tonight is going to do anything to do with basketball. It's not going to do with wins and losses, because that's not what Coach Dixon's about. I do want to make a side note. In 1989, this new wing was built. This court was built as we know it today, and they chose a very special man to make that dedication speech. It wasn't the principal, it wasn't the superintendent, it was Coach Ted Dixon, who was our girls basketball coach. So what a full circle today to come back and ingrain your name on here forever. So we're very excited for that. We're going to have a couple speakers here, but just kind of in closing, we talk about coach. We have the word coach on there, and a coach is far more than anything to do with athletics. It's a mentor, it's a teacher, a guider, instructor, it's a parent. So all those things, Coach Dixon fostered a lot of relationships. A lot of people here were direct impact from that, and you're going to hear that tonight a lot. Coach Dixon's famous quote, and I probably butcher it, but he says, "I'll teach you 99 things, only one will be basketball," meaning there's a lot of other life lessons in athletics, and these are the great things that sports gives us, and it has very little to do to the sport itself. So you're going to see an emphasis of that. But ultimately, he was a transformational personality that touched the many lives here. I know we have a lot of women from the 80 to 96 team, a lot of guys who we coached before that here tonight, but was a transformational, someone who we want our coaches to be like. So when we thought about how can we bestow a great honor on Coach Dixon, putting his name on the court was an easy decision. There couldn't be somebody in a higher regard that we feel is deserving this honor than Coach Dixon tonight. So we are proud to celebrate with everybody. We do have a special guest speaker, though. I want to bring up Mike Chandler, who is the Milford High School principal from 86 to 1994.
Thank you, thank you. Actually, I came to the high school in 1986, but I came to the district in 1977. By that time, I think Ted had already put in about 5 years here, so we've been friends for like 45 years, and I want to tell you, it's a great honor to be here tonight. You know, we used to say, once an eagle, always an eagle, and I flew the nest, or left the nest about 29 years ago, never thinking that I'd have an opportunity to come back here and speak to Milford folks again, so I'm humbled by that. You know, my former athletic director, the guy that was athletic director when I was here, just told me a minute ago, he says, Mike, you remember when we used to come to school every morning? He says, I couldn't wait to get here. It was that much fun, and that's the kind of family that we had back at that time. Before I proceed with the introduction of our honoree, I would like to offer up a couple of thank yous. A lot of water has passed under the proverbial bridge since Ted coached us the last game here, and it'd be very easy after all this time to allow such a proud era to fade into the past. So to the individual or individuals who were the driving force for making all of this happen, after all of this time, I thank you. And to the remarkable athletic director who listened to the idea, developed an action plan while providing full support and honoring Ted's legacy, thank you as well, Aaron. Special tributes are reserved for truly special people, so again, thank you for your support in making this happen. Upon arriving this evening, I noticed a lot of construction taking place as another new building begins to take shape, and it brought back memories during the time I served as principal here. We were going through the same thing, a lot of dust, dirt, mud, and it seemed like it was going to be forever before we got this building open. I can recall that Coach Dixon, along with many others on our staff, played key roles during that early planning stages. I remember very well that he was a person I could lean into for encouragement and support. We had a discussion then and throughout the years that have followed how our new high school facility would serve as a catalyst to transform this community, helping it to grow and prosper. Obviously, that's been the case as new neighborhoods have sprung forth, leading to increased enrollment, requiring additional additions to this building and other renovations and new buildings throughout the district. Upon completion of the opening of this building in the late 1980s, I was charged with the responsibility of planning a dedication ceremony, and as you might guess, our guest presenters included the usual allotment of city and township leaders, board members, and top-level administrators. Our staff had made multiple sacrifices to bring this massive project to fruition. Therefore, I felt it was important to include a deserving colleague to represent our high school faculty at that dedication. We had a lot of great teachers from which to choose, so I developed the criteria to narrow the field. Number one, I felt it was important that this person be well-rounded, involved in that this person be a great classroom teacher, one who respected each and every child, regardless of ability levels and individual differences. I felt it was important this person be well-rounded, involved in the area of extra or co-curricular activities, who embraced such activities as an extension of the classroom, a person who was fully invested in our community, a person who saw his or her role as not just a job, but an opportunity to make a difference. You might have guessed by now, the person that we selected to represent our faculty is the same gentleman being honored here tonight. Let's check the boxes. A great classroom teacher. As a lifelong learner, eager to share his knowledge, teaching was always his first priority. As an example, along with two of his colleagues, Coach Dixon, back in the late 70s, helped create a class called Futurology. Long before computers and cell phones, it was a class that encouraged students to look into the future and examine the endless possibilities. Earlier this week, I noticed on social media that one of those students called it the best class she had ever taken. Matter of fact, she took it 2 years. Number two, we were looking for a coach in the extracurricular area who would view the sport as an extension of the classroom. All of us athletes, as Aaron mentioned earlier, can attest that at the beginning of each season, Coach Dixon would instruct his team with the words, "I hope to teach you 100 lessons, one of which will be the game of basketball." As for his investment in the community, Coach Dixon, along with his wife Karen, made Milford his home, and all three of his children would go on to graduate from Milford High School. You might have noticed that I haven't mentioned that Coach Dixon is the winningest basketball coach in Milford High School history. I asked him a couple weeks ago, "Ted, how many wins did you have?" And he replied that he wasn't sure. It suggested the reason for all of those victories was his longevity. I happen to know firsthand that Coach Dixon had several opportunities to take higher paying and possibly even more prestigious jobs, including an offer at the university level, but he shunned them all, accepting that his mission and love for coaching here was irreplaceable. That defines commitment and humility. In his role as a teacher coach, he shared the tools and life lessons for success later in life. He created a family environment, something that he gleaned from his own high school coach, and has served as a father figure to many of his athletes after all these years, still loved and adored by them. Many of them are here tonight to celebrate in this moment. For those of us who shared that time in this place, we're honored to be a witness to this occasion. So, my friend, with all of that, the time has come for the dedication of this floor in your honor. So if you're able, please stand, and let's give a big Milford applause for Coach Ted Dixon.
Can you hear me? I hate these things. And you know what? If I coached in St. John's with 11,000 people there, okay. The people on the floor didn't have a problem hearing me when we had 11,000 there. But I'm going to have to read this. Is that good? Is that technology? Okay. I have to read this because I have a certain time limit, and as a result, I'm going to have to do some things. And they said I might occasionally deviate. First of all, I'd like to have all my players stand and remain standing, please. That's both the 8 years with the men's program and 12 or 16 with the girls. Would you please stand up and stay standing? Now remember, you got to stay standing because there's going to be some others. These are the people who dedicated their time and effort to make this happen. They are some of the best people I've ever known. They wanted to teach. I wanted to teach them about the game and even more about some of the challenges that they were going to face after basketball. In addition, these are some of the important people that also helped me get here. First of all, my wife. My wife Karen, who had to shoulder so much of the burden of our family while I was away so many hours. That was 511 games, over 1,700 practices while my 3 children were being raised, and I came home on occasion. And Without her, I'm positive none of this would have even been happening.
You try to overcompensate.
Do what?
Give her a second. Give her a second. Yeah, put it up. Mic check. We'll teach. Coach has never used a microphone before.
Like I said, when we were in St. John, then it gets blurry. With my oldest son, Ted, is with us tonight. He spent 28 years in the military, and he has his children with him and his wife, Heather, and their 3 sons, or there are 3 out of their 5 children, Gillen, Lachlan, and Colin. I'm assuming you're standing. And my daughter, who today, after several months of not being able to come, decided to come to the front door today and knock on the door and said, "I made it." And then I had an emotional breakdown. Stephanie is with Karina and Cadence, her twin girls, and she had to leave her son and her husband at home. And I was going to say that you were taking care of your mother's duties, but you're here now, so you're doing that too. My youngest son, Aaron, was also from California, and his wife, Suze, and twin boys, Lennon and Keegan. The other woman who kept me in line, my assistant coach, Deb Johnson. She's not really my assistant, she's my co-coach. Because believe me, so many hours she was with the girls, so to go to coach and they would come to her, and I was all wrapped up in my coaching duties. She taught me so much about my players without comments and observations that were so important, that were so essential to my success. Jeff Garrison was my reserve coach for most of my time, and I called him 3 times and I never reached him. Is he here tonight? I was hoping he would make it, but evidently he didn't. John Van Binscoten, as a volunteer coach, donated his time for a number of years. And of course, he only went on to help Jerry Sheevey at Wyomington win the national championship, but he thought that was a little bit less than what he had to do here. My athletic director, Jim Prather, and my principal, Mike Chandler.
Coach Bill, I'm going to coach you. Put it by your mouth so they can hear you.
They can hear me.
Now you can hear me. Thank you.
How come I could do that with no microphone at St. John's? And you guys came to the bench and said, I said, "Can you hear me?" And she said, "Coach, we can always hear you." Whew. Both Jim Prather and Mike Chandler, today my closest friends. Without these 2 men and my family, this would not have been possible. Now to some of my 2 favorite coaches, one my opponent and one my best friend. Tom Reddick and his wife Ann are here from Tip City, and we had a special thing. We scrimmaged during the season for 2 days, and we would spend the night with Tip City, and then our players would go visit with their players, and then the next morning we'd scrimmage again, and the next year we came to my place. It was a great learning experience. I figured if maybe we, between the 2 of us, we probably built a couple of pretty good teams. Steve Imhoff is here from Sycamore High School. He is a great competitor and a great friend. We finally got together so many times, not just for basketball, but it was talking basketball, going to camps, whatever. And I figured that if maybe we coached together, we would have probably won 5 state championships. My mentor, Mally McCarty, who was, I spent the first 8 years with the guys. I learned so much there, and I had to put it in place to coach the varsity with the girls. I only coached at Milford for 26 years. That's all. Mally McCarty had a special defense, which was a showstopper and led to our success. He taught me so much about the game. My high school coach, Byron Dickerson, who could not be here this night, and his wife, Nancy, who could not be taught me team building and being a coach. And I think I like to think that I'm following his example. But he couldn't be here. But my high school friend who went on to play at Miami and then coach at Miami is Jerry Pearson. And a final special thank you to a young lady who started this whole process. 2 years ago, Shalee Thomas Stevens, a member of our Final Four national team and Capital University's national team, went to Aaron Zipka over a year ago and began barking out point guard instructions and telling him the history that he needed to know, which caught his attention and his interest. Aaron, from there on, who has totally amazed all of us since then, he has handled all of this, kept me out of everything. Good idea. Finally, a couple of very special people also. Kelly Whalen, Tom Clark couldn't be here, but Matt Velton, who played for me, are some of the two best officials that I ever saw. Now, I've got to make a statement about these two. The game has three components: players, coaches, and officials. They made the game what it should be and taught me and others how to respect the game. A friend, Dave Miranda, personal friend, president of the Boosters Committee and the Board of Education also, he kept Milford kids in the forefront and the priority at his job, whatever it was. And I'd also like to ask if there are any parents of any of the players that are here. Would you please stand up? Their support and patience were crucial for to this program. Friends who were always there to support my family and me. And then there's Mary Ann Will, who when I came here in 1972, took me by the hand, or by the ear, and said, here's what you gotta do, young man. And she's been doing that ever since. And she still runs Milford programs for the kids. All these people are just a part of all of this, of what I had to do, I guess, so that this would be here. Those of you standing and those who didn't did this together. We did this entirely together. I couldn't have done it without you. I am so blessed and honored and proud to have been part of Milford High School. Thank you all. Go Eagles!
All right, let's give it up one more time for Coach Ted Dixon. In closing, I just want to say, when we came up with this concept, Coach Dixon joked like he does, saying, all these younger kids have no idea. They're not going to know who I am. Well, I will say they know who you are now, and anyone that walks into this gym will forever remember who you are. So congratulations, Coach. Let's celebrate.